just need to get a hook. Carabiner locks too easily. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here we go, folks. Okay, so brand new computers. What this is basically going to showcase is a quick and dirty VR setup tutorial here. And then I am going to post this to the web, get it up on YouTube so that everybody can use it for the time being for 3.14 PTU. And then with my new computer and new setup and all that jazz, we're going to make a full professional video and do some editing and make a brand new high quality tutorial setup that I hope everybody will enjoy. That's a little bit better than this off the cuff live format that I normally do. Having said that, let's get going. Alright, so this is the setup tutorial for Vorpx and Star Citizen. Make sure that you have both of those bought and purchased, at least a starter account for Star Citizen with a starter ship that will give you online PTU access, which has now gone into open PTU, so everybody gets to play the new 3.14 test patch before it goes live, which is the public test realm for those uninitiated or uninformed. And then you're going to want to buy and install Vorpx. Vorpx is around $40 these days, and it's a great tool to have in your VR toolkit / belt. I highly recommend it, even if you don't want it for Star Citizen. It's just a nice tool to have. Having said that, we're just going to go ahead and, now that you've gotten those both installed, this is first time run for pretty much everything. We are going to run Vorpx as administrator, and then all you got to do is just hit the launch key, launch game, or launch button, launch key, whatever. And then Vorpx will pop up with a window attaching to Star Citizen. That's what we want to see. Okay, here we go. VoIP. Every time you do a first time run of Star Citizen, camera detected if you have a webcam. Enable VoIP features. We want to hit no. And then, okay. So let's quit now that the VoIP has been, okay, let's see if this works. I think it failed. Task manager here. Here we go. Okay. This is actually what we wanted. Perfect. So if it doesn't attach properly, do not prefer alternative hooking method. Install the hook helper when you get this little pop-up window, if it ever shows up on your computer. Hook helper installed. Note that you can uninstall hook helpers in the config app under remove hook helpers. So there you go. Now, that actually is going to solve a lot of issues, and you can't really command that dialog box to come up. So if you have problems hooking, this is going to be the way to go. Boom. Every time now. First time, Star Citizen launching in the VR headset. Okay, and it looks like we are running here. Now, first thing you're going to do is hit the middle mouse button to enable the edge peak for Vorpx. Alright, graphics, medium, VSync, off. There we go. Alright, so hit this to do that. And looks like, yeah, we are running right now at 1440p on my 4K monitor for testing purposes and whatnot. So what I'm going to do really quickly is swap over the stream to a more zoomed in view here. Give me just one sec, folks. Okay, there we go. That should look a little bit better as far as format-wise goes. And again, sorry, but all of this is kind of work in progress as I go through teething issues with the new setup. Forgot that I didn't even have Vorpx and stuff installed, and I had to wait, for email confirmation for my key for it and all sorts of other stuff. Anyways, so what you want to do is be running in borderless window mode. That way that will allow you to Alt-Tab out of your game and not crash or freeze Vorpx. That's just very handy for Steam VR users and I think Vorpx or Oculus users too, but that's just a quality of life thing. So that's for in-game settings. Now for Vorpx settings, you're going to hit the delete key, and then I will have a full video with all of this stuff with a mirror mode image that shows exactly my settings, and I'll also have an export of all of my stuff as well, how I have it all set up and whatnot that you guys could download and import and use. But for full I basically, if you hit delete, you got main settings and playstyle I have in full VR mode, right? And then 3D reconstruction, Z normal is the one that I just normally run with, but you can go with Z adaptive or geometry if you GPU really can handle it. But sometimes with either of the Z normal or Z adaptive modes, it has weird artifacting issues whenever you're near elevators and stuff. I had that on my old graphics card or my old system, really. I'm going to track down and see exactly what's up with that and see if we can actually get some capture footage of that bug. But regardless, so 3D reconstruction down at the bottom, you can just go ahead and set to Z normal for now. And that's pretty much all you really need to make sure of for now. You can obviously go to image settings, and it has all this image zoom and stuff like that, aspect ratio correction and whatnot. There's display settings, track IR, make sure that is turned on. Track IR supports head roll. Yes. Track IR supports POS tracking. Actually, just go ahead and, yeah, okay, that'll work. And then, index hand controller settings, there's input settings, hotkey menu settings, and then you're back to main. Once you kind of go through all that and kind of get things the way you think you should have it set, and again, I'll have a more detailed breakdown of those, as well as an export config of all those settings later in my more professional video, but go ahead and hit OK and save. And then now we are basically up and running in VR in Star Citizen. If you hit the middle mouse button, it will undo. If you basically with theater mode edge peak enabled, it will keep the menu in front of you and you could look around like this, right? You'll know that you're in full VR very quickly and easily if it is stuck to your head. Okay, so now that you've gone through all the Vorpx settings, you now have VR working in the main menu with Star Citizen. Now to get your controls and everything set up like that. So what we're going to do is quit the game. And if you have your wheel set up, unplug your wheel. Make sure it's just your HOTAS plugged in, right? The quickest and easiest way to do all of this. Okay, so after exiting out of the game, make sure that only your HOTAS is plugged in. And now that you have just that, go ahead and launch the game. And the quickest and easiest way to get VR support working in Star Citizen is to honestly go with the default settings for whatever HOTAS that you got. Get rid of all the view and look settings that are pinning and locking you down. And then from there, you have all the open keys and buttons now that you can work with. And that will give every person their own kind of baseline to kind of start. So we're going to start with joystick setup first. Okay, now that we are here. Okay, so now that we are back in the game, you can go to Keybinds. Oh, thank God. Please refer to advanced keybind menu for stick HOTAS controls. Boom. Alright, so control profiles. I'm just going to go ahead and select my X52 Pro. Joystick. Joystick. Boom. Done. Alright. So we go back, and then we go hop straight into Arena Commander here. And then you're just going to want a single player. Free flight. Just literally any ship will work. Make sure that something is selected. And then go. Okay, mouse centered. Alrighty, okay. Okay, so first off, go to head tracking options in the very last tab. And we are going to go to head tracking general source. Going to track IR, head tracking general toggle. Okay, use position offsets in cockpit, yes. Auto recalibrate, disable while seated, no. Disable during FPS, no. Disable during aim down sights, no. Toggle during mobiGlas. Yes, yes. Enable roll-in seats, yes. Enable roll-in FPS, yes. Head tracking external view toggle enabled, yes. Head tracking general, hold. Use device offset, no. And I think that that's good. That should. Faceware, camera rotation. I think we are good. Faceware, blah, blah, blah. Yep, I think that's should set the head tracking. Let's see here. Alright, well, first thing that we need to do is go to advanced keys. And we need to remove a couple of things here. Actually, in game settings, first of all, you're going to want to scroll all the way down here. We are looking for speed limiter defaults on. Go ahead and turn that off. These are all just quality of life. Actually, defaults, yes, you want the proximity assist defaults off. Okay. And then we're going to go down to... Okay, here we go. Vehicles, enable auto zoom on locked target. No. And then you're just going to go ahead and max auto zoom level, drag that all the way down. Okay. That's just going to be a nice quality of life thing. Okay. And as soon as you do that, that should make that a lot better. So, well, let's just go ahead and get rid of all the stuff that we need to. Key bindings. Alright, so first off with keyboard and mouse. We do not want our mouse to move the ship. Now that we have our looking access as well as our joystick to control, in theory. Is this even really... Oh, I don't think that that was plugged in properly. No, it's not. Oh, a thing... I was like, there's some sort of cable... Okay, hang on. We found it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I was wondering why my lights weren't on. Oh, okay. There you go. All the lights are on. Okay. That would make sure that all of your controls and USBs and stuff are plugged in properly all across the board. That's a good start. Okay. So now we have joystick control and we have some sort of not really head looking yet, but all right. So we go to controls, key bindings, and then with mouse and keyboard, what we want to do is turn off all mouse and keyboard flight. So vehicle, cockpit, flight, movement. All right, so mouse axis, get rid of it. No, right, left and right click, left, right click. Boom, okay. All of the movement or aiming with the ship for mouse is done. Now we have our mouse does look. We need to reason... Oh, yeah, okay, so now, as you can see, the default binds are, after you remove that, the look axis is on your joystick, okay? So we need to get rid of that now. So we go to Options, Key Bindings, Joystick HOTAS, Advanced Controls. Then we need to go to Vehicles, View, look left, look right, get rid of it. We don't need any of this, and that actually frees up an entire POV hat for us. Get rid of the X-axis, that was what we were using with the joystick. And then get rid of all of that. Boom. Okay, so now we're basically rocking here. Mouse is moving our view. Our head tracking is not enabled for whatever reason. We might need to just restart the game here and make sure of some stuff. Track IR. Toggle. Head tracking general. Toggle enabled. I guess we need to set that to yes. I thought that was like... Oh, yep, sure enough, that does it. Okay. So, now that you have your head tracking enabled, go ahead and Alt-Space. Enter. There you go. And now we have full head tracking capabilities. Man, that's sharp. That is really sharp in here. And then now that that's working, this is where you would want to disable during interaction mode. No. There we go. Okay, so F, and now we can look around. Okay, so power off.
Systems
perfect.
Offline.
Okay, now that that's done, you can hit delete and we won't fly forwards at 1,000,000 miles an hour for whatever reason. Okay, so now that you hit delete, now that you got head tracking and stuff enabled, now you can actually adjust the zoom and view by going to hit delete and then image settings and then crystal image, normal. Let's see, our gamma aberration adjusts aspect ratio, pixel 1:1 letterbox, stretch. So yeah, I guess it's best to have best to have 1:1 pixel ratio and then just zoom in the image to about 1.0. And that'll give kind of a scrunched in view, and we'll fix that later with a custom resolution tutorial. But for now, that'll get rid of most of the black lines around the edges of your screen. If you don't like 1.0, you can adjust it maybe back down to basically just get it wherever it's comfortable for you on the image zoom section when you hit delete and go to the image settings. And then OK and save. And then now that that's good, we can power on.
Aegis combat system activated. Systems.
Let's change some bindings, shall we? This is the part that you guys can skip, but I always make these kind of changes on the X52 Pro. I'll include them in the video for your comfort, but these are all the quality of life stuff on the actual left side that I like to do. Targeting and whatnot, you could all set up by yourselves, but as far as flight, I feel the decouple needs to be on the top button. Your speed limiter is default and set properly to the little knob here. Acceleration limiter on this bottom knob that we will set manually. And then the middle button here, I like to have as the space brake, and then this button here, just the same as boost, like Elite Dangerous. Currently, it's all set up really, really funky. I think that boost button is the decouple button. This is the boost button. This is like reverse thrust, all sorts of stuff that we'll just basically change right now. So, movement. Let's see here. Okay, swap, roll, toggle, Z. Throttle forward, throttle axis. That's good. Okay, so strafe, forward, backward, invert. Get rid of that. Decoupled mode. Get rid of that. Boost. Get rid of that. Then see here. Okay, so we're looking for speed limiter, absolute, y-axis rotation. So we're looking for acceleration limiter, absolute, right here. Double click that and then put that on the other little rotating wheel. Dynamic zoom in and out, ABS. Okay, so that's what we need to turn off here. It's got to be view, yeah. View, okay, yeah, dynamic zoom in and out, absolute. Get rid of that. All right, cool. I forget to do that in the first go, and that actually helps with the zoom in type view. All right, so now that you have all that set up and whatnot, let's see here. Now we go for the actual ones that we want. So space brake, we're going to put there. And then we are going to put our boost on the boost button. Then decoupled mode right there on brake. And then where is brake? We got space brake. Is that in ground vehicles? Ground vehicles movement. Yeah, brake, button 8. Just get rid of that. Alright, cool. Boom. That's all done. So then now that that's all done and set, then you go back and you just do the actual controls. Inversion settings. Make sure that you're on joystick, HOTAS. Yeah, inversion settings, flight. Okay, so flight movements. Then we are looking for flight strafe forward, strafe backwards. I want to say that we swap this one. There we go. 0. Yep, boom. Okay, so look, now we have proper throttle working with the X52 Pro. So that's for the X52 Pro users out there, and now our knobs work properly for our speed limiter and then our thrust acceleration limiter now, which is awesome. Okay, we have full control with our joystick now. Our weapons work. So yeah, we are good to go. VR is now up and running in Star Citizen for you. That is the end part of the regular Get My Joystick and VR up and running with Vorpx tutorial. Now I'll quickly show you guys how to set up the wheel. Hang on here, let me... okay, now that this is all working, we're going to get the wheel running for ground vehicles. Do you want to exit the game? Yes. Okay, so if you have a G27 like moi, what you're going to want to do really quickly is make sure that you have USB game controllers and setup. I know that you're on a zoomed in view of the 1440p window, so I'm going to show you as best as I can here. So we go to, oh, now we plug it in first, huh? How about that? All right, so Logitech USB racing wheel. Make sure that it is properly installed, has the driver and everything. It's showing up, and then you're going to go to settings, and then you want to have combined access. Excuse me, combined access check marks. If you race sim games, this is not going to be check marked. All right. What this does is this is single access mode. This basically turns your pedals into, instead of the 3 with the clutch and the XY axis, right? It turns it into literally one pedal. Okay, and that's split between the brake, or that's split between the brake and the gas pedal, right? And it's on a single 0 to 100 axis. But your gas is it's set from a negative 100 to positive 100 axis, right? And it freezes it in the middle with your gas doing the positive motion and your brake doing the negative motion. This is how all arcade games are set up that have a wheel and pedals. Cruising USA, all sorts of stuff like that. Basically, when you hold down the brake, you're going to go down in reverse. All right? But what we're going to do is go to options and controls. Actually, no. We're going to go back into Arena Commander here. Then I'm going to make sure that everything is working. Because more than likely, a thing that I need to show you is still persistent and causing a lot of issues and headaches. So once you got your wheel plugged in,
He just
all right, so we are going to set up some keybinds for our HOTAS now, or for the wheel part of the HOTAS. Okay, so we want to go for, first we'll set up the pedals for vehicle movement. All right, so flight, and we want, I have mine set personally to strafe forward, no wait, what we want is, okay, here, see this one right here, this is what we want. Because you have to have throttle forward on your throttle axis, right? For your X52 for the ship to move. But if you just want like landing thrusters for forwards and backwards, or for, you know, up and down, depending on how you do it. If you want it for forwards and backwards, put your pedals into single axis mode like I did. And then you bind one pedal, and it shows up as a slider now. That slider, even if you hit the, look, I'm going to hit the gas pedal and I'm hitting the brake pedal. Gas and brake pedal are showing up as slider 1 now. That's exactly what we want. And now, when you hit the gas, well, we'll need to fix that. Oh, yeah. I think we just need to invert one of the settings and stuff. Controls. HOTAS. Actually, we could go to HOTAS 2 is what we want. Yes. Inversion settings. Flight movement. Straight forwards, backwards. We want to invert that. Boom. And then that's how you do it. Then we hit our brake. Brake. And then it's going to make us go backwards. Then we hit forwards, gas pedal, and now everything's working. And then you can literally set to 0 throttle and then just use your pedals here. To forwards and backwards. And everything just plays a little bit nicely. And these are the old landing pads. So yeah. And doing all of that lets you use your wheel pedals in Star Citizen. Cool. That's the basic rundown and the VR setup tutorial for Star Citizen. You now have Vorpx working in VR. It should, with the settings that you have, work properly when you're FPSing with mouse and keyboard. When you're flying with your HOTAS and on an X52 Pro now especially, everything should work properly and nicely. And now you've added wheel functionality for ground vehicles and added pedals as well to your flight mechanics. So I hope this helps anybody and everybody who needs it to use it. This should get you up and running for 3.14. Not a whole lot has changed from the last one. And again, this is just kind of a temporary, quick and dirty setup guide until I get an official 3.1 video that I'm going to do professionally and get some nice editing and different footage and use screenshots and, you know, try to actually do a whole thing about it and make it way, way better in production value now that I got my new computer. So stay tuned for that. I think I'll actually include the vertical custom resolution setup with that. And you can go ahead and use my old one that still works just fine for setting up a vertical resolution in your headset through the desktop and Star Citizen CML or XML, not XML files, or CFG files, I think they're called. Anyways, there's a whole video that I got and a link that goes in depth that someone else posted as far as a breakdown of that entire process. So, having said that, thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to chop and clip that up and get it to YouTube and let people use it. And from there, we'll check you next time. On the horizon, see what I did there? On the horizon, we got the high production 3.14 official VR setup video that I'm going to make, as well as the 7 ways to play VR in Star Citizen. A professional video I'm going to do with full green screen, different camera angles. I got different web cameras and stuff like that. I want to go through in that video all of the different types of ways that you'll potentially be able to play Star Citizen in VR. Like mouse and keyboard at your desk in VR, at your desk in with your joystick and stuff like that. In a cockpit with just, a HOTAS controller sitting down on a couch, a full cockpit standing up and in and out of the cockpit at the same time. So I think I've numbered it out, and there's about 5 ways, but 7 ways with like a couple of repeats to how I think 99% of the user base will play Star Citizen. And then of course you're gonna have that 1% outlier that has like some sort of crazy the running pad type of thing. One of those things. I almost got one of those. I'm glad I didn't, because that is a huge waste of actual space if you're not using it. At least this cockpit works for sim racing, sim driving, sim flying, VR, non-VR. It's got wheels. I can move it around. So this thing has actually got a lot better of a footprint as far as manageability on your floor space. But yeah. So having said that, you guys, thank you very much for tuning in. And with that, I'll check you next time. Till then, stay safe, fly right. Woo!